And now we go to, let's see, Terashio, let's see, I'm sorry if I muted like your name, Terashio Reno, and you gave me like questions that could like, I could fill like a whole series of videos, but I'm just gonna go with, the flow here. What are your top 5 favorite comic book series of all time? And I had a lot to think about this. I have a lot of favorites, but I had to go with these. I went with Sandman Mystery Theater from Matt Wagner, Stephen T. Siegel, and Guy Davis. And Matt Wagner stuck with it almost through the whole run, and Guy Davis and Stephen T. Siegel was all the way to the end. Great book. It was about the original Sandman, Wesley Dodds. Big fan of that. And of course, just plain Sandman from Neil Gaiman and various artists. It's a brilliant horror fantasy series, and it was fantastically realized, and it made Vertigo what it is. And Daredevil. God, I love Daredevil. He is the first superhero I discovered on my own without any help of TV shows or movies. And of course the Frank Miller stuff, just, I really gravitated to. How old was I? This is 82, so I was like 11 when this came out, with him holding the gun right to a reader's face. This just seemed a lot different than some of the other stuff I was reading, so it really excited me. And I've pretty much stuck with Daredevil almost all the way since this. And I've mentioned in other videos, like, it's great. I don't know how he avoids crossovers and all this other bullshit. But I sometimes wonder if it has something to do with Miller. Like, he created this sense of realism and maybe adult nature in the book that no one really wants to mess with. And I think that's probably why. And another one, Box Office Poison from Alex Robinson. And this is a terrific series. I'll maybe talk about this a little bit more. But God, this was a great book. It ran, I think, about around 23 issues, and it's basically the lives of these characters who are running around New York, trying to become writers and artists, and their various sex lives and relationships. Brilliant book. I mean, some of this stuff feels like real life, and I'm sure it did come out of real life. And I'm sure this doesn't surprise anybody. Batman. I mean, how can I go? I mean, Batman has been consistent throughout the years. Out of the big three over at DC, his books have always been great. Not just his regular series, but the miniseries, add-ons, special one-shots. He's always, I don't know, created this aura of quality that writers just go apeshit when they touch him or the characters and just work it out. So, Batman. And let's see. Your next question was, you mentioned that you're a writer. Do you have any favorite genres, and what is your style of writing? I guess my favorite genres are roughly like superhero and science fiction, and horror. And I have been writing mainly horror, actually. The novel Devita that I have written, and I'm still like prepping it. I'm gonna start shopping around, hopefully this year. That's a horror novel, horror and fantasy. I also have a book of short stories, which I'm gonna self-publish actually this year. I decided just a few weeks ago to do it. And let's see, I'll talk more about it specifically later, and even put up a link to where you can order books. And I have a super cool surprise related to Caprice, one of the short stories, Caprice, the lead one. I have something going on with that. I won't talk because I'm working with somebody else about it, and I don't want to jump the gun until he's ready to start really talking about it publicly. But it's going to be really fucking cool. So yeah, that's right. But I'm also talking to Lindsay about co-authoring like a fantasy book, and I'm thinking about a couple of murder mystery things. But right now I'm sticking with horror. I don't know why. I never was a huge horror guy growing up. Let's see. All right. what are your top 10 comic book storylines of all time? Let's see. And I got them right here. And move that there. And here we go. First off, Death, The High Cost of Living from Neil Gaiman, Chris Picciello. It's the Death miniseries. And for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, it was a nice introduction into the Sandman universe. I heard about how great this book was, but it'd been running for 20 issues, and I was kind of afraid to kind of jump in willy-nilly. I don't know why, I don't usually. So when this came about, I thought, oh, this is a great look, and fell in love with it. Fell in love with her. I just really got into it and got into Neil Gaiman's work. So this was fantastic. This is number 10. Now, the whole Peter David run on Hulk, and specifically the Pantheon chapter where he was the merged Hulk. God, that was great. All that shit is good. Just any of that era of Hulk from Peter David is great. First Dale Keown was the artist, and then I think Gary Frank was the artist for the rest of that run. But out of that run, I don't know, I keep going back to War and Pieces, which is Incredible Hulk 390 through 392. It was a crossover with X Factor, which he was writing as well, where the Hulk and the Pantheon decide to intervene on this Middle Eastern country, similar to Iraq, and take out the dictator, where X Factor, who is working with the government, is an ally to this guy, so they send X Factor to stop him. Pretty cool story. Loved it a lot. And Neil Gaiman's, of course, Sandman run. Actually, I can probably count the whole run as a storyline, but specifically the kindly ones. The sort of the end. There's an epilogue called The Wake, but this is pretty much the end of the series. The kindly ones, which the art was done by Mark Hempel. And what I liked about the art on this was it was a little more cartoony than the rest, but it still had a great kind of detail to it, and almost made it look a little independent the way it was done, but still professional, not how some independents can look kind of cheap and unpolished. This is beautiful. This is a great ending to the series. In case you haven't read it, or maybe you're going through the same man, so I won't give too much away of what's going on in it. But beautiful storyline. And Batman Year One, motherfucker. A lot of this, of course, was used in Batman Begins. It's Frank Miller and Dave Muccilli, I think. Terrific work. Batman getting started. And a lot of this has been used in other comics, the animated series, the Batman. I mean, it's kind of all over. Great appearances by Catwoman. This is also the storyline that really turned Jim Gordon into a character rather than a mouthpiece for the cops to kind of bounce dialogue off Batman and shit like that. This was great.